In a world marked by political polarization and global tensions, rulers play a crucial role in the fate of nations. Leaders like Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump have been controversial figures that generate divided opinions. But beyond politics and human debates, the Bible has a clear and compelling message for all those in positions of power. In this story, we will reflect on how God uses His Word to speak to current rulers and how these teachings could impact global decisions. The Bible teaches that all authority comes from God. In Romans 13:1-2, Paul writes, "Let every person be subject to the governing authorities. For there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God." This verse reminds us that both Putin and Trump and any world leader are in their positions because God has allowed it. However, this does not mean that their actions are always just or aligned with His will. God establishes leaders, but He also calls them to account. A clear example is in the story of the Pharaoh of Egypt, whom God allowed to harden his heart to demonstrate His power and free His people. Exodus 9:16. The Bible is emphatic in warning against pride and arrogance, especially in leaders. In Daniel 4, we find the story of King Nebuchadnezzar, who ruled with an iron fist and considered himself invincible. In his pride, he said, "Is this not the great Babylon that I have built as the royal residence by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty?" Daniel 4:30. God humbled him, making him live like a beast in the field until he acknowledged that the Most High has dominion over the kingdoms of men. Could this account be a warning for modern leaders like Putin, known for his iron grip and territorial ambition, or Trump, famous for his self-confidence and controversial style? The Bible shows us that excessive pride can lead to downfall, and God uses circumstances to remind leaders that He is the one in control. In Micah 6:8, God makes clear what He expects from everyone, especially from those in leadership. This call to justice and mercy resonates powerfully in a divided world. In the context of Putin, his decisions related to war and territorial conflicts could be compared to the kings of the Old Testament who faced divine judgments for not acting justly. On the other hand, Trump, with his political and economic influence, has been called to be a leader who promotes unity and not division. Both, like all rulers, are under God's scrutiny, who demands justice and compassion. In biblical times, God used prophets to warn leaders about the consequences of their actions. An impactful example is that of the prophet Nathan, who confronted King David after his sin with Bathsheba, 2 Samuel 12:7-9. Nathan did not fear speaking the truth, and David, in his repentance, wrote Psalm 51 as a plea for forgiveness. Today, God continues to speak through His Word, spiritual leaders and circumstances. It is possible that global tensions, natural disasters, and economic crises are signs for leaders to reconsider their paths and seek divine guidance. Woe to those who enact unjust laws and prescribe tyranny. What will you do on the day of punishment? This judgment applies to any leader who abuses their power or acts against the principles of justice and truth. The story of Herod in Acts 12:21-23 is a striking example. Herod allowed himself to be flattered by the crowd, who proclaimed him as a god, and did not give glory to the Lord. As a consequence, he died suddenly.
This reminds us that no leader, no matter how powerful, is beyond the reach of divine justice. I exhort above all that supplications, prayers, petitions, and thanksgivings be made for all men, for kings, and for all who are in high positions.
Praying for leaders like Putin and Trump does not mean approving all their decisions, but rather asking God to guide them towards wisdom, justice, and peace. It is an act of faith and obedience that can have a profound impact on the course of world events. The Bible offers clear guidance for rulers, reminding them that their power is temporary and that they will be judged by their actions. In a world full of conflicts and challenges, leaders like Putin and Trump have the opportunity to listen to the voice of God through His Word and act accordingly. As believers, our duty is to pray for them and trust that, in the end, God is in control of all things. The hearts of leaders are in the hands of God, and He inclines them according to His will. Proverbs 21:1. If you have any questions about how God continues to work in current leaders, leave it in the comments.